Hey everyone, this is Kim and thanks for joining me for Smart Fox TV. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and if you really like us, please subscribe.
Thank you for watching Smart Fox TV. Today, Chinese Americans make up the largest Asian population in the U.S., totaling over 3 million. Today, the largest Chinatown is in New York City, where almost 100,000 Chinese Americans live and work. But Chinese immigration wasn't always this way. Chinese immigrants first flocked to the United States in the 1850s, eager to escape the economic chaos in China and to try their luck in the California gold rush. The first Chinatown started appearing in the U.S. cities as far back as the 1900s. When the gold rush ended, Chinese Americans were used often for farmhands, gardeners, domestic laundry workers, and most famously, railroad workers. In the 1860s, it was the Chinese Americans who built the Transcontinental Railroad, and by the 1870s, there was a widespread economic depression in America, and jobs became scarce, causing hostility to grow toward the Chinese American workers. By 1882, things got so bad that Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, virtually banning all Chinese immigration into the United States. From 1942 to 1945, there was a policy of the U.S. government that people of Japanese descent, including U.S. citizens, would be incarcerated in isolated camps. Enacted in reaction to the Pearl Harbor attacks and the ensuing war, the incarceration of Japanese Americans was considered one of the most atrocious violations of American civil rights in the 20th century. On December 7th of 1941, just hours after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the FBI rounded up thousands of Japanese Americans from their communities, including religious leaders, and arresting them without evidence and freezing their assets. In January, the arrestees were transferred to prison camps, and many were unable to inform their families, and most remaining for the duration of the war. Japanese Americans reported to assembly centers near their homes. From there, they were transported to relocation centers, where they might live for months before being transferred to the permanent wartime residence. At the assembly centers, they were located in remote areas, often reconfigured fairgrounds and racetracks. They were featured buildings, but not meant for human habitation, like horse stalls or cow sheds that had been converted. Each relocation center was its own town, as they called it, and it includes schools, post offices, and work facilities, as well as a farmland for growing food and keeping livestock. Each prison camp or town was completely surrounded by barbed wire and guarded towers. After the date of December 7th of 1941, people were being asked if they were Chinese or Japanese, and the Chinese residents were told that they should not leave Chinatown, and if they had to, they must wear a button that said American Chinese. The Chinese Americans became allies to the Americans, and most men went into the military as it provided them the added support and gained the respect of being a patriotic to America. Meanwhile, the women worked as welders and did other odd jobs that were needed to provide support for the men. It was only in 1943 when China became America's ally in World War II. That is when Congress finally repealed the Exclusion Act. FDR, on December 17th of 1943, took the 60-year-old exclusion law off the state books, repealed it, and rectified what had been known as a historic mistake. The repealing of the law made Chinese residents of the United States eligible for nationalization and lowered the migration barrier to allow permanent Chinese into the United States. This would also allow them to bring their families and wives. Even then, Chinese immigration was still limited to a mere 105 people a year. On October 3rd of 1965, on New York's Liberty Island, all restrictions were finally lifted and the Chinese started to arrive in America in huge numbers. The prison camps ended in 1945 following the Supreme Court decision in a case where justices ruled unanimously that the War Relocation Authority has no authority to subject citizens who are concededly loyal to its leave procedure. The case was brought on behalf of Mitsu Endo, the daughter of a Japanese immigrant from Sacramento, California. After filing a habeas corpus petition, the government offered to free her, but Endo refused, wanting her case to address the entire issue of Japanese incarceration. 2 years later, the Supreme Court made the decision, but gave President Roosevelt the chance to begin camp closures before the announcement. One day after Roosevelt made his announcement, the Supreme Court revealed its decision. The last Japanese internment camp was closed on March of 1946, and President Gerald Ford officially repealed Executive Order 9066 in 1976. President Lyndon B. Johnson said, "Those wishing to immigrate to America shall be admitted on the basis of their skill and close relationships of those already here." Thanks for watching Smart Fox TV. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe.
Hey everyone, this is Kim and thanks for joining me for Riddle Me This. What question can you never say yes to? Stay tuned for the answers.
This is Sally with some good news for you. So, if you've ever watched a TV drama, you may be familiar with the plot twists that come up out of nowhere to add more drama on top of drama. However, plot twists really do happen in real life, and here's a story about how that happened in China. On March 31st of this year, two families were being united in marriage in rural Suzhou, Jiangsu. The mother-in-law, she couldn't help noticing that her daughter-in-law had a birthmark that looked very similar to her long-lost biological daughter. The moment of truth came out when she insistently asked the in-laws if their daughter was really theirs and if she was adopted about 20 years ago. They were shocked because no one else knew that their daughter wasn't really their biological child, including the daughter herself. She explained to them that she lost her daughter a long time ago, and they admitted that they found her on the side of the road as a baby and raised her themselves. Upon realizing it really was her own daughter, she and the bride tearfully embraced. She admitted that she had given up a long time ago on ever finding her lost daughter, but providentially she found her again through her son. Thankfully, She's son was also adopted, so the bride and groom weren't biologically related and were able to get married as planned. She's daughter admitted that finding her birth mom again was more exciting to her than the wedding itself. Talk about a happy ending, but also a strange plot twist.
Hey everyone, this is Kim and welcome back to Riddle Me This. What question can you never say yes to? And the answer is, are you asleep yet? Get it? Because, someone asks you, are you asleep yet? You can never say no because, you're still awake. This is Kim, and thanks for joining me for Riddle Me This.
This is Kim.
This is Tracy.
Hi, this is Sally.
And thanks for watching
Smart Fox TV.
Stay Foxy.